Welcome to Awaken My Soul Meditations. I am out here at my most favorite place, at the lake. It's gorgeous. Just a beautiful, warm, peaceful, and calm day. And so in today's video, we will be exploring spiritual awakening. What is it? And why am I going through it? Big question. Deep conversation that so many are having right now. So let's talk a little bit about spiritual awakening. Let's look at it. Let's look at what it is, why you're going through it, why in this point of your journey, of your life, are you going through what we call spiritual awakening. So in my own experience, there are so many different triggers that can show up in your life that basically start the process of awakening. For some, tragedy, loss of a loved one or someone that is very dear to you, that you have a very deep relationship with. For others, it could be illness and some accidents, tragedies that just unexpectedly show up in our life. And then for some others, the meeting of your other self, which I will be exploring at some point in time in future videos. But that can also trigger spiritual awakening. So what is it really? What is spiritual awakening? Well, really it's the process of becoming aware of the ego personality, the illusory self, right? The self that's been programmed into us, the self that is absorbed and filled with beliefs, with ideas, the self that lives in a space of the mind, right? Where the mind is observing and making decisions and analyzing and thinking and looking at right, wrong, good, bad, right? The ego part of self being heavily absorbed and set in your mind. When spiritual awakening comes and shows up into your life, it is the transition of the mental, the ego personality, the outer world, and into the inner space, the inner, the real, true self. The self that is formless, the self that is timeless, the self that is and always will be. And with spiritual awakening, it is a slow and steady, and at times a very painful process, because again, you are releasing and shedding and letting go of everything that you've known all your life. The identity of who you are, your name, your career, your beliefs, your relationships, everything that you have formed over the years that now you are looking at from a whole other perspective. And as we've explored in the previous video, the big question of who am I, right? So you begin to really, really explore that on a deeper level. You recognize that there is so much more out there, that there is more to the you than you've ever realized, than you've ever known, right? Because it's always been there, but it's been shut down. It's been sort of put on the sideline so that you can experience the physical life that you came to experience, right? At the end of the day, again, we did come into this reality to experience this physical form, to really have that human physical body experience. But at the same time, while here, while in this life, there does come that point where the deeper questions start to arise. And again, those things, those triggers that come up into our life that help us along the journey and get us to that point of asking the bigger and the deeper questions about ourselves to return us back to and slowly guide us towards that which we are and that which we came from. So, why is it that you're going through it? Why is it that you're at a point in your journey where life, what it seems, is crumbling around you? Relationships that you've known all your life are falling apart, or you're questioning whether or not you should be in those relationships, whether or not you should have those friendships. Your career might be falling apart. You're questioning everything you've done, the degree that you acquired, the job that you've been working in for so many years. All of that somehow just seems so meaningless through the spiritual awakening journey. And again, not for everybody. It's going to be a different experience for different people. But in many circumstances, usually when we begin the process of spiritual awakening, there is a lot of shedding, a lot of releasing, a lot of letting go of what we've been doing routinely over and over and over and over again, and living in that illusion, that space of pretending to be someone that we are not. And so again, why is it happening to you? Well, because you're ready. The soul is saying it's time. It's time for you to live your most abundant, most beautiful, most prosperous, loving life. To experience all that you can possibly experience, to be all that you can be, to be who you really are. Universe, creation, the beautiful eternal force and energy. And so that is why it's happening to you, because it's time and you are ready for the journey. It's going to be a rough one. There will be bumpy roads ahead, but always know that you will be supported, that the universe supports you, the soul supports you. All of that is backing you up, and all you have to do is say yes and welcome the changes. Allow them to be, allow them to come, allow them to carry you on your journey through this life, and just simply be. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will continue to explore various spiritual topics and probably dive into spiritual awakening again here in the near future, because it is a deep topic. So this is just kind of that simple overview of what it is and why you're going through it. Thank you. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Sending you lots of love and light. Namaste.